I think you were on vacation, Rob G, right? When I gave my take on this, that the Jets could wind up being the Mets. And part of it was about the offensive line not being able to protect them. I'm not saying the play, whatever you want to say. Well, you here for a little bit, or maybe you did. So, yeah. But Chris, I was saying, and you know this, when you have a older quarterback too, and all this other stuff. There's a lot of stuff, and I didn't say that he was going to get hurt in the first 4 plays, but I was saying that there's too many things that have to go right, and not having a strong offensive line with an older quarterback puts him in jeopardy like every game. And who would have thought that it would take 4 plays? But my God.
Look, first of all, I'm not going to blame the playing surface, because I imagine, I get it that the Jets, it was known for, being a bad playing surface, but they replaced it. And I assume they replaced it with a surface similar to what other teams have as far as turf. Like, they updated it, and it's probably a better turf. I mean, most of the teams play on turf now. I've said, Rob, for years, I wish they'd all go to grass, because I think it'd be better for the players. But I'm not going to rip the Jets for putting down turf. Most teams have turf. But, Rob, you bring up a good point, and I said it when we first found out about the injury or saw the injury. This is on the Jets. Now, you can get hurt no matter what, right? Anybody can get hurt.
Because Aaron Rodgers had broken his collarbone a couple times, right? Like, and you could get hurt. Anybody
could get hurt in the NFL.
Right.
But, Rob, they knew our weak link is the offensive line. Right?
Yep.
Our weak link is the offensive line. Running back, we're good. Receivers, we're good. Quarterback, we think we're good. Defense, we're good. Offensive line, no, we get it. We're shaky. But we got a quarterback who's one of the best ever. He's got a quick release. He's smart. We'll be okay. And here you go. Three attempts, 3 times he is pressured. And, Rob, like you said, look, Rodgers, I don't know this, but as a younger player, maybe that hit doesn't bother him. When you're older, you're older. And you are more prone to injury.
It's just a fact. Chris, you know how many great basketball players we've seen with a torn Achilles end their careers? Right, when they get older? It happens so many.
It's not that they can't go out and be great here and there, but they can't stay healthy. They can't play through 82 games, similar in football. But, Rob G, you got an update?
Latest update in the middle of this segment, Aaron Rodgers has exited the X-ray room, headed back to the Jets locker room wearing a boot on his foot. Yeah. All indications he is out for the night.
Oh, yeah.
You talk about putting a damper. Rob, last night was a damper for a different reason, just a non-competitive game. And now you lose Aaron Rodgers. But it's not about us. I don't want to be about the fans. But it's unfortunate for him, first of all, and the Jets.
They had high hopes. They're devastated.
And they should have.
People, if you're a Jets fan or whatever, are you kidding? Like, it'd be one thing if he didn't play well or the team just didn't live up to it, but to not even have the guy and the one guy you didn't want to be a quarterback is in there playing. Can you imagine that?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully Zach learned a lot in those few weeks under Aaron. Rob, of course, the news of the night, and my goodness, it's devastating. First and foremost for Aaron Rodgers, the Jets, their fans, Rob. But let's keep it real. Also, the NFL, right? This was the biggest storyline of the season. The Jets were the team on Hard Knocks, and everybody was excited to see what in the world Aaron Rodgers was going to do with this moribund franchise, the New York Jets. And 4 plays into his first possession.
You like that word, moribund.
Yeah. Dismal.
Yes.
Woebegone. But anyway, that's one of those New York Times words I used to use. But 4 plays in, Rob, in his first offensive possession, he is sacked and spun around and hurt. We don't know what it is. It looks like it's clearly a lower leg injury. He was carted off the field or, got on a cart. He could walk a little bit.
Now
now we've seen him in a boot. When he got off the cart, I saw him kind of walking into the tunnel. But he's in a boot now, and he's out for the rest of tonight's game. He's had x-rays. We obviously don't have the results yet. But, you hope and pray. You don't want to see anybody get injured, but you hope and pray it's not that serious and he'll be able to be back relatively soon. But, man, Rob, dismal news for the entire NFL.
No doubt about it. I mean, he's a great player. People wanted to see with this young team and the pieces in the defense if they could make a run or whatever, Chris, and he could write a magical story and to take a franchise that hadn't been to the Super Bowl since 1969 and all that, storyline was great, right? And instead, it's your worst fear. It's your absolute worst fear that you could have, especially with an older quarterback. You gave up so much to get him and all the other stuff. And Zach Wilson, who you didn't want and you talked bad about, now he's the quarterback tonight. And you know what I mean? Like I bet you Zach Wilson was the last person who thought he would be playing football this season, Chris. Seriously.
Well,
right?
And Rob, look, we've said it, and you saw Jordan Love. Jordan Love looked good yesterday.
He did.
They got a good win over the Bears. Bears aren't very good, but they got a good win, put up 38 points. And, Rob, I think Jordan Love benefited from not having to play right away. He got to sit 3 years behind Aaron Rodgers, learn at his feet, and now he looks like a pretty decent quarterback. Zach Wilson, learned, I guess, tried to learn something under Rodgers in training camp. Rodgers took him under his wing. So you hope, I think Zach would have benefited, Rob, from sitting a full season or two behind Aaron Rodgers. You hope he can pick something up in the small time that he did. And then the other thing, Rob, is how deflated you think the Jets are. Now, they got to fight through it, right? You just got to overcome.
Playing. It's football,
right.
Because you played football. You can't worry about who's not on the field, okay?
Exactly.
You just can't. If you do that, you're dead. So the game is 3-3. They're in the game.
They have scored. We're down 3-0.
It's 3-3.
Tied, I guess.
With about 8 minutes to go, you know what I mean? So you look at it and you go, well, we can still win a game here. Let's not lose sight that the game. It's not 40-0. It's not the Giants score.
Right.
Okay. But after this game, win, lose, or draw, the reality is going to set in, Chris, that all that they had planned for might change. And Rob G, I saw something on Twitter saying that according to the doctors, their panel of doctors, did you see this? According to their panel of doctors watching the video, they think it's a season-ending injury.
Really? What panel of doctors?
Let me see.
And who's the tweet from on X?
Get it. Let me see.
Well, the latest update, guys, is he's out of the X-ray room, and according to Albert Breer of MMQB, X-rays were negative. However, he was immediately ruled out. So if it's not a break and he's already being ruled out, then what is it exactly?
Right.
It's not looking good.
Yeah, Rob, to your point, right now the Jets got to play.
They're just numb. Yeah, you just play.
And after, but even like you said, when the game's over, it'll set in. They got to try to fight through that the same way they are right now.
And let me say this, too, Chris. Here's the other part.
You got to look at it look, we are better. We got Dalvin Cook. We didn't have him last year. We won 7 games without even decent quarterback play. We hope we can get better play from that. We got a good team around besides Aaron Rodgers. That's how they got to look at it. I'm not saying it's true, but that's what, you know what I mean? You can't give up one game into the season.
No, and
so that's what they have to tell themselves, true or not.
I agree. You got to try to figure it out and make it so that, you had all your eggs in the basket, and now you got to kind of play through that. And it's the nature of football, and people get hurt all the time. And most of the time, Chris, if you have a big-time player get hurt, you ain't winning too much. I'd have to count on my own.
They'd be done.
Yeah,
I picked them to make the playoffs. No Aaron Rodgers. No, they're not making the playoffs.
Right.
Especially the deep, toughest AFC is, Rob. They will finish last, most likely, in that division.
And here's the other part that's scary, Chris. If he comes out of this, and I don't know what, we're not doctors, we don't know how bad it's going to be or whatever, then you're still scared for him. Do you know what I mean? That going forward, like
yeah,
that's the scary part.
that's
You know
fair.
what I mean? Like I'm not saying like he can come back and you'll be like, oh, they don't protect him. That line. Do you know what? You know, then what?
Nah, you're right. I mean, you're right because he looked old on that play.
He's 39.
He looked older. Yeah. And again, I don't know this. I'm not a doctor. But maybe that play doesn't. You can get injured, of course, when you're young. I'm not saying that. But maybe that play is just not as bad if he's younger. I mean, there's a reason guys don't play forever. And so Jets, Josh Allen just threw a touchdown pass to Stephon Diggs. Short touchdown pass. They're up 9-3, about to be 10-3, presumably. But Rob, we'll keep updating you guys.
And I'm going to say this, and I'm just. This has been just we talked about it all off season. We just talked about how bad the offensive line was, and I'm not.
Yeah.
We can sit here and it's not a second guess. Okay, so anybody who's listened to this radio show, please, it's not a second guess. Chris, we talked about this. There was a game against, was it the Saints? Who was the game against? Where he got, they had a joint practice. He got touched or sacked or hit,
their joint practices. Was it Carolina, Rob?
Was it Carolina?
I think Carolina. Yep. They had two. Yeah, Carolina was one. He was getting touched up every play.
Every play. Yeah. Every play. And the start of this game, Rob G, right? Four attempts at it. Didn't he get pressured or touched three times and sacked once? Those were his four. He never had
all three times he was pressured, including one sack.
Okay, so 3 out of 4. So one time he didn't.
One time was a running play.
And one was a running play. Okay, so 3 out of 4 he was.
The 3 times he dropped back, he was pressured. And Rob, because like you said, that was our concern the entire time. And I was surprised, and it actually made me think they would be okay. Because Rodgers was so calm about it for the most part. He did go off a few times or once or twice on the line. But for the most part, he was very calm about it. And he talked like it wasn't going to be much of a problem. The Jets clearly thought it wasn't going to be much of a problem. And that made me feel like, you know what? Okay, it's quick release. He'll be okay. I mean, how quick do you have to be? I mean, you have to be freaking, the speed of light to get the ball out with that offensive line. All right.